Gisele Pelicot, a 72-year-old French woman, endured nearly a decade of horrific abuse orchestrated by her then-husband, Dominique Pelicot. Unbeknownst to her, Dominique secretly drugged her with sedatives, rendering her unconscious, and invited at least 83 men to their home to assault her while he recorded the acts. This abuse spanned from 2011 to 2020. Gisele began experiencing unexplained memory lapses during this period, leading her to fear she might have Alzheimer's disease or a brain tumor. Medical tests returned negative, and although she once confronted Dominique about the possibility of being drugged, he denied any wrongdoing and she remained unaware of the ongoing assaults. The truth came to light in September 2020 when Dominique was arrested for taking photo of women's skirts in a local supermarket. Computer equipment revealed over 20,000 photos and videos documenting the assaults on Gisele. On November 2, 2020, Gisele was shown these videos at the police station, leading to the collapse of her world as she knew it. Dominique was immediately Gisele initiated divorce proceedings, which were finalized just before the trial in September 2024. In December 2024, Dominique Pelicot was sentenced to 20 years in prison for his crimes. 50 other men were also convicted, receiving sentences ranging from 3 to 15 years for their involvement in the assaults. Gisele chose to waive her anonymity during the trial, becoming a symbol of resilience and sparking a national conversation about SV and consent in France. Gisele's courage in bringing these atrocities to light has inspired many and highlighted systemic issues within France's legal and societal framework regarding our word and consent. Her case has drawn international attention, emphasizing the need for cultural and legal reforms to protect survivors of SV, a story of survival and justice. Today, we're discussing a heartbreaking story that highlights a critical issue. Marital RAP, a survivor in France, has come forward with her story, sparking debates about consent, justice, and the rights of women. Viewer discretion is advised, as the content may be distressing. The incident: recently, a woman in France shared her ordeal about being R by her husband, a crime that many still don't recognize as such in certain parts of the world. Her brave decision to speak out has shed light on the horrifying reality that marital R is not just a violation of trust, but a deeply traumatic act of V. According to reports, the survivor endured years of abuse before finding the courage to take legal action. Her story resonates with countless others who are still suffering in silence. Is marital R recognized in France? In France, marital R has been a criminal offense since 1992. However, cultural stigma and lack of awareness still prevent many victims from seeking justice. Despite the legal framework, prosecution rates remain alarmingly low, and survivors often face significant hurdles in the judicial system. Globally, over 100 countries have criminalized marital R, but enforcement and societal attitudes vary widely. This case highlights the urgent need for education and systemic reform. Gisele walking into a courtroom, holding her head high, symbolizing resilience. The survivor's courage has ignited conversations not only in France but across the world. She has inspired other women to speak out, emphasizing that marriage is not a license for abuse. Consent must always be mutual, regardless of the relationship. What can we do? This story reminds us of the importance of standing with survivors and advocating for change. Here's how you can help. Support organizations that provide resources for survivors of DV. Educate yourself and others about the concept of consent. Advocate for stronger laws and better enforcement in your community. Cut to a list of hotlines and resources for victims of SV in France and globally. If you or someone you know is in an abusive situation, please reach out to a trusted resource or hotline. Help is available. Keep watching. Let's stand together against V. Thank you for joining us on this important discussion. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content on critical issues affecting our world. Together, we can create a safer, more compassionate society. Justice for Gisele Pelicot, a landmark trial against marital and mass tode. We bring you a story of unimaginable pain and profound courage. Gisele Pelicot's ex-husband has been sentenced to 20 years in prison in a mass R trial, a case that has shaken France and brought global attention to the fight for justice for survivors of SV. Viewer discretion is advised, as the following content discusses sensitive topics. Gisele's story: Gisele Pelicot endured years of abuse at the hands of her ex-husband. As a young woman, she believed in the promise of love and marriage, only to find herself trapped in a nightmare of manipulation, control, and via Gisele Pelicot's testimony over time, Gisele discovered that her ex-husband's V wasn't limited to their home. He orchestrated a series of horrific crimes involving other women. For years, Gisele lived with the weight of fear, shame, and silence, a silence that she finally broke when she came forward to expose the full extent of his atrocities. The legal battle breaking her silence wasn't easy. Gisele's testimony played a crucial role in the mass art trial against her ex-husband, who was accused of abusing multiple women over the years. The trial revealed the extent of his crimes, calculated, repeated acts of V that shocked even seasoned legal experts. 20-year sentence. Justice served after a grueling legal process. The court sentenced Gisele's ex-husband to 20 years in prison. The verdict was not just a victory for Gisele, but for all survivors who have been silenced or dismissed in their pursuit of justice. This case is a watershed moment for France, a country where discussions about consent, SV, and marital R have often been taboo. Marital R has been a criminal offense since 1992, but the stigma surrounding it still prevents many survivors from coming forward. Globally, marital R is still not criminalized in over 30 countries. This trial shines a light on the urgent need for legal reform and societal change to protect the most vulnerable. Gisele's courage and the path forward. Gisele's courage in speaking out has inspired others to do the same. She has become a symbol of resilience and the power of truth. Her actions remind us that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, justice can be pursued. A message of hope. Survivors like Gisele are not just victims, they are warriors. And their stories remind us that change begins when we refuse to stay silent. How we can help? What can we do to support survivors like Gisele? 1. Educate ourselves and others about consent and violence. 2. That provide resources for survivors. 3. Advocate for stronger laws and enforcement. Resources such as women's rights organizations and helpline numbers in France. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please reach out to trusted organizations or hotlines. Help is available and you are not alone. Gisele Pelicot's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Her bravery has paved the way for others to seek justice and sparked a conversation about the need for societal change. Let's honor her courage by continuing to fight for a world free from SV. Thank you for watching. Together, we can create change. We getting there. Please like the video. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to help amplify the voices of survivors. Together, we can make a difference. Today, we're bringing you the shocking details of a case that has shaken France and the world. Gisele Pelicot, a 72-year-old survivor, bravely came forward to expose her ex-husband, Dominique Pelicot, for orchestrating a decade of horrific abuse. This is the story of betrayal, unimaginable crimes, and justice finally served. Viewer discretion is advised, as this video discusses sensitive topics. Photos or depictions of Gisele during her younger years, transitioning to recent images of her standing strong. Gisele Pelicot is a retired French woman whose life took a horrifying turn when she discovered the monstrous actions of her then-husband, Dominique Pelicot. For years, Gisele lived a quiet life, unaware that she was being drugged and violated by strangers in her own home, an ordeal orchestrated by the man she once trusted. The crimes unveiled adrenix of police investigations, courtroom sketches, and symbolic images like locked doors or medication bottles. Dominique Pelicot secretly drugged Gisele with powerful sedatives, rendering her unconscious. He then invited strangers to their home to her while he recorded the assaults. Investigators uncovered over 20,000 photos and videos documenting these unspeakable acts, which occurred between 2011 and 2020. The evidence revealed a chilling level of premeditation. Dominique posted online advertisements and underground forums seeking men to participate in the assaults. Shockingly, more than 50 individuals were implicated in this network of abuse. The legal battle, courtroom footage, headlines, and statements from legal experts. Gisele's nightmare ended in 2020 when she discovered a hidden camera her husband used to film the assaults. She immediately contacted authorities, sparking an investigation that led to the trial of Dominique Pelicot and his accomplices. Dominique was sentenced to 20 years in prison, marking a pivotal moment in French legal history. Here are the details of the sentences for the key suspects. Dominique Pelicot, 20 years in prison for orchestrating and participating in the assaults. Jean-Pierre Marchal, 12 years for drugging and are his own wife, inspired by Dominique's crimes. Carly Arbo, 13 years for aggravated our Joan Kawai, a 26-year-old soldier. 10 years for our Gisele on 2 occasions. Headshots or symbolic placeholders for the accused. The impact on survivors' footage of women's rights protests, support organizations, and Gisele speaking to the media. Gisele waived her anonymity to ensure the world knew what had happened. Her bravery has inspired other survivors to come forward and sparked a national conversation about consent, marital art, and justice for victims of SV. Breaking the silence, her actions have turned the tide, making shame change sides and exposing a dark underbelly of abuse that often goes unreported. Broader implications of the case: maps showing countries where marital art is not criminalized, clips of legal reforms being debated in France. The Gisele Pelicot case underscores the urgent need for stronger protections for survivors and harsher penalties for perpetrators of SV. While France criminalized marital art in 1992, cultural stigmas and systemic gaps still prevent many victims from seeking justice. Globally, over 30 countries still do not recognize marital art as a crime, leaving millions of women vulnerable to abuse within their own homes. Hotlines, organizations assisting survivors, and empowering images of women supporting each other. Cases like Gisele's remind us that we all have a role to play in supporting survivors and advocating for change. Here's what you can do. Support organizations that provide resources for survivors, advocate for stronger laws and enforcement against SV, educate yourself and your community about consent and abuse. List of resources and hotlines in France and globally. Closing thoughts: candlelight vigils and supportive communities. Transitioning to Gisele standing strong in court. Gisele Pelicot's courage has paved the way for change. Her story is a testament to the resilience of survivors and the power of speaking out. Let's honor her bravery by continuing the fight for justice and creating a world where no one has to endure such horrors. Justice for Gisele Pelicot. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to help amplify this important story. Together, we can create a safer, more just world.